A mason jar lid pumpkin can use new jar rings or upcycle old canning jar rings into a fun fall gift or fall centerpiece for the table. Kids are going to love learning how to spray paint. I was looking for a way to upcycle my old canning jar lids that I'm not using anymore. So this was just the right project for that. You need 20 of these mason jar rings that are used on the top of a canning jar. There's two sizes. There's this larger size and then a regular size. I'm using the larger ones. You'll also need a stem for your pumpkin, either a stick or some cinnamon sticks, and you can either cut leaves from felt or purchase some burlap leaves if you'd like. You can make a curlicue out of pipe cleaners, and you'll need some twine as well. And of course, we're going to use orange spray paint to paint our rings orange. I took my rings outdoors and spray painted them with orange spray paint. You need to do that in a well-ventilated area. I put out newspaper on the grass and then sprayed them at about 10 inches away. It worked very well, except it was a bit windy. And I do recommend making several light coats of the orange instead of a heavy coat because mine took a long time to dry. I got in too big a hurry and put on too much at once. I used a pretty traditional orange for my pumpkin. There were a lot of other choices of spray paint colors, so you could do that in any color you want. So I have my 20 rings. It's important that you line them up so they're all going the same direction. I'm going to use twine in the middle of my pumpkin, and so I'm going to string them all on that twine. And again, like I said, they're all going the same direction. And there we go, we have them all in a row on the twine. So I pull them up tight in the center. And I'm going to put this back through a second time to make it strong. Now you see how that's going to work. You might find this easiest to have someone else help you tie the knot. After I tied my strings, I had the idea I'm going to pull these up through the center of my pumpkin if I can do it. And then I'll have these as like part of the stem area. There we go. Now we're going to fan these out as evenly as possible. Okay, so I'm pulling each one of these around best that I can so that they each nest one inside of the other. And here's my two strings that I pulled up through the center. I'm going to use those for little curlicues in here. To finish up here, we're going to add a stem in the center, and we can either use a cinnamon stick, and if you don't want to purchase one of those, you could also just use a stick from the yard that you clip off. That would also work as well. I happen to have the cinnamon sticks, so I'm going to go ahead and use one in the center. Kind of push it down in there like that. And that kind of tightens this up a little bit too. It was a little bit loose before. Then I'm going to use a couple of these burlap leaves and kind of shape them a little bit and then stick that stem down into that area. See if I want one or two of them. There's one. And I'm going to add this little yarn in there like curlicues, and I'm going to use that instead of a pipe cleaner. I kind of like the way that looks. Yeah, I think I'm just going to do one on there. And there it is. What do you think? This is fun. I'm going to put together the second one that has the smaller rings. So there's my second smaller pumpkin. I only used 17 of these regular sized rings to make this one, and I used a couple sticks in the middle. Now we're really like this as my curlicue. I've loved making an upcycled mason jar lid pumpkin craft out of my old jar lids. For more great fall craft ideas for kids, come on over to welcometonana's.com and join the fun.